We got a lot to cover today, and we're going to have a bunch of people trickle in to this. So I'm super keen to get stuck into the content. So we'll do some formal introductions. This amazing, smiling, lovely lady here on the left, Roze. She's the marketing and partnerships manager with Inspire Accountants. My name's John. I'm the founder and owner here at 5x5 website design. And Roze, do you want to kick off and just tell us a little bit about yourself? We had an interesting chat this morning, and you sort of gave me a little bit of backstory as to how you sort of evolved to this.
Well, yeah. Hey, everyone. My name is Roze, and that's Roze spelt with a Z, if you didn't know. It's actually short for Roselle, in case you didn't know that, John.
There
But
you go. I did not know that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
I'm the head of marketing and partnerships here at Inspire. I've been here since 2019. A bit of backstory prior to Inspire, I actually worked 4 years as a receptionist at a law firm, and I had no marketing experience whatsoever. But yeah, when I joined Inspire, I actually joined part of their client service admin team. And because the business was quite small at the time, I had the opportunity to also, help out with the marketing events. And yeah, I kind of found my dream job, which is marketing. And yeah, as you can see, I basically look after the lead generation for Inspire. So that's all the appointments that come in, and yeah, ultimately driving the revenue goals for the business.
Cool. And we should probably give a little bit of background about Inspire. So you are life-changing accountants, physically based there in Brisbane. I'm good friends with the owner, Ben Walker. I've known him for many, many years. You're not your average accountants, and you're going to see why as we sort of dig into this in a little bit more detail. So in terms of today, what are we talking about? Why should you devote the next 20 minutes of your life listening to myself and Roze? And the answer to that is we're going to deep dive into the website redesign that we did for Inspire. And we're going to identify, well, how did you actually know it was time for a redesign? Like what was the sort of driving forces behind that? The actual planning that went into the process, and then the process that we used to deliver that, and ultimately like the outcomes it's achieved for the business. Does that sound like a good plan, Roze?
Definitely. I'm really excited to share our process, like even from as a client perspective, like the whole journey from start to finish. And it's even been 4 months, 4 or 5 months since we've launched the website, and we've definitely going through this experience has actually changed our marketing strategy overall. So yeah, really
awesome.
keen.
So this year, Roze, would you agree that Ben, the owner of the business, he's a little bit of a tinkerer? He likes to get in there and tinker and do that sort of stuff. So this is the first website that Ben ever built, circa like 2015. And he's done a pretty good job.
Not bad.
Considering the guy's an accountant, right? That's your old office. We then got involved in 2018. We put together the first website, the first version of that, and that really like stood the test of time for about 4 years. And then fast forward to the tail end of last year, which is this new website that we've launched, and this is what we're talking about today. So you can sort of see that evolution. We actually did the branding as well, so redesigned your logo and all that sort of stuff. But just wanted to sort of paint a little bit of a picture as to the journey to date. So in terms of, and we sort of kicked off today's discussion in and around like your physical events. Really like Inspire's lead generation was ultimately, it was all offline. So lots of physical events. In chatting with you, use the words very energy intensive and tiring.
We traveled. Well, 2019 when I first joined, we traveled interstate 2 times a month. And at the time, I thought it was the dream job. Like, man, I'm going to Sydney, I'm going to Melbourne. But after a month, you actually get really tired, and the work-life balance wasn't there. I'd be waking up at 3 a.m. to catch a flight. And then, if the flight got delayed, coming home. I'd be home at 12. It's just, yeah. And then the next day, come into the office, call all the attendees that attended. So yeah, super labor intensive.
Cool. Yeah. And I've run physical events before, and I can definitely agree that it is hard work. And then this thing called COVID came along and put a big handbrake on all of that. So you're still doing the events, but you just basically shifted the events online. Yep.
Exactly.
And so my question to you is really the website was just a validation piece.
It was just a spot for people to find out who we are and what we did. And that was it. It was just an information hub. But there was no focus on the website in terms of generating leads for us.
Cool. Okay, so that's a little bit of the lay of the land in the context. So really like the fundamental shift that you came to us sort of middle of last year was, we want this thing to work harder. We want the website to be a tool that actually gets the phone ringing and gets leads and inquiries coming through. Would that be a sort of a good summation of the brief that was given?
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool. And that was the lens that we went into with this, in and around kicking the process off. We did some planning, right? And really, like, you had an existing website, and it wasn't a bad website. And there was a bunch of stuff that was working on there. It was just sort of identifying, okay, well, here's the stuff that's working. We then want to get really clear on, well, how do we need this thing to evolve to support the lead generation activities, identify those new priorities, which and I'll get you to talk about your service offering and really like your client engagement process, and then just tightening things up. So you had a bunch of content sitting there on HubSpot that was then brought back into the fold with WordPress, and without getting sort of too nitty gritty, we basically just needed all the content to live on your website because it was sort of a bit over here, a bit over there.
It was.
Yep. So maybe talk about your service offering and your client engagement process. And I've got the remarkable Roze. This is where you can chime in and give us your 2 cents on this step.
Well, prior to engaging with you guys, I'd be tracking all the leads that come into the business. So when I say leads, these are appointments booked with our accountants. And one of the things I'd notice is where the leads came from. And a good portion of it was actually through Google. And then the second thing was actually the marketing reports that we received from you guys each month. I think we were getting about 4,000 in traffic. And then we also noticed Ben's blogs that he wrote in 2016 were still performing to this day, driving traffic to our website. So that was kind of like an aha moment that we needed to kind of shift gears and start focusing onto the website, start, writing more blogs, changing our website, and just having that customer experience a lot better. So when you land on the website, the journey is quite easy to then book a phone call with an accountant and just know what our services are.
Yes. Yeah. So what we'll actually do, we'll bring up the actual website, and at a glance, you'll see exactly what Roze is explaining here. But before we do that, we get into the wireframing step here. Now, a wireframe is a not so sexy version of a website, really like low fidelity version of just the stuff that's going to go on the website, right? So we get really clear on the blocks that'll exist on the homepage and the internal pages. This is a collaborative process. So even though we've been briefed, we've got a clear idea around what we think should be on the website, but also Roze, the marketing lead there, also has a clear idea. So we're able to collaborate, leverage off each other's strengths, and figure out what's going to go where, figure out the hierarchy, the importance. This then will inform the design layer, and ultimately, just figure out what's got to go on the website, and what you were talking about before, what physical elements need to support those activities. Anything else to add in there, Roze?
Yeah, definitely a key part of the process. It's kind of like the first taste test of what the website could potentially look like after that planning process. So yeah, when we first got the first wireframe, we wanted a few things tweaked, like adding this meet our team button. I think that wasn't there initially. And then adding, some awards, and then testimonials, just shifting that a bit higher. So yeah, definitely key before, you guys put in the time and energy to actually developing the website.
Which is the next step. So we get into the design layer where we mock up the design. It starts to come to shape and looks like a website. Excuse me. We then present this online, and this is then another opportunity to collaborate and refine and improve. So what I'll actually do, this is the mock-up here of what we actually did. This is using an application called Envision. And basically what it does is it gives the end user, the client, Roze, the ability to see what her website is going to look like on screen at 100%. So you can sort of see these little sticky notes and all this sort of stuff. This is feedback that came direct from the Inspire team, and we're able to collaborate on all those bits and pieces. Anything to talk about just in terms of like this key step in the project, Roze?
Yeah, definitely. Envision was really easy to use from like a client perspective from us. Just if we needed to tweak something, it was just very easy to communicate with your team with what needed to be changed. And I think you actually could respond back to our feedback as well, and if it's been actioned or what your thoughts were. So
cool.
Yeah, really, really easy.
So that's more just like the nuts and bolts of the design process. Here is the actual live finished product. So this is the homepage. And if we just sort of talk through some of the key themes, like the previous version of the website, we used more of a traditional navigation where we had all the items up there on the top. But in that sort of early stage process, you said, look, really people are only interested in 3 things when they visit our website. They want to see our team because people buy from people. And I guess, looking at this handsome group of individuals, you don't look like average accountants, right? You're just like, youthful, fun people that ultimately you would want in your life, by your side, doing your taxes, all that good stuff, right? They then want to see the about us and then the services. So what it is that you actually do. And you can see there's a ton more information here, but that's sort of tucked away in what we call a hamburger menu. Strong calls to action. Obviously, I spoke about the imagery of the team, the trust and validation that you've got a bunch of.
I actually copied that from your website.
There you go.
I was like, oh, I really like that. I'm going to add that on there. Just adds that validation as well.
It does, 100%. Yep. So the awards you've won, you got some testimonials. Now, we talk about hierarchy and the importance of this. You're very clear about who you work with. So obviously, you have an ideal client avatar, and straight up, you talk about our ideal client is someone who's doing over, say, $500,000 to $10 million in revenue. They work in these sort of industries. This is the sort of stuff that we can help with. And then if we look at your product mix, I just really love this because you can just look at it and from left to right, completely understand what the engagement process looks like. So Ben, he's a pretty, he's just like a relaxed dude, and he loves saying the word sus. He's going to suss something out. So he's like, I want you to suss us out. Yep. And Roze, maybe you were telling me a story about how you like, oh, do we really want to use that word?
No, I was kind of like, maybe check us out might be a bit more professional, but like you said, we're not the average accountant. So yeah, it was just like, let's be us, let's be real, let's put suss us out.
Love it. And that's a perfect example of using your tone of voice and appealing to the sort of people that you want to work with, right? So here's all the free stuff that you could suss Inspire out with, your webinars, your workshops, and your PDFs and your blogs and all that sort of stuff. Then, like at a glance, I know I can get some entry-level accounting done. It's a monthly sort of subscription style model. And here's the stuff that you do. If you need something more sophisticated, this is the total financial control that gives you more stuff. And then this is probably more the bespoke solution. So at a glance, like I know exactly probably what thing I fall into based on where I'm at and what my requirements are. So I thought that was
sorry, it was just
cool.
really easy for you guys to come up with that design for us as well. I think the only thing we provided was those little circles at the top. And then you guys kind of just created this for us and really simplified it.
Love it, love it. And this is the other cool thing here on the homepage. So we've called this the tax saving calculator. And it just allows people to sort of get like an instant quick win. So it's like, what is your profit? So I select that. What is your business structure? So I'm trading in a company, and no, I do not have a business partner. So then what the results on screen serve up is based on real data that you provided us. So you provided us like an Excel worksheet that we were able to then translate and build this sort of functionality, the sort of tax that it saves.
Yeah.
So,
and then from there, if you want to explore working with us, then you've got that call to action button to book in a strategy call. So really cool.
So talking about, so you're all about like tax dollars saved, like that really ties into your overarching messaging and all that sort of stuff for us.
Yeah. So if you don't know much about Inspire, we help with small business clients save over $18 million in tax and counting.
Awesome.
And for every dollar of tax we save, we give that a day's access to food, water, health to someone in need. So if you do this calculator and it says 24K in tax, that's going to go towards our, $18 million, and then give that to someone else in need.
Yep. And the other interesting thing is it actually filters out. So you actually don't want to, or you're not set up to work with sole traders, right? So it's like you actually don't fit our description as an
most of our
client.
clients are not. Yeah, exactly.
So you probably just saved a phone call there, or some Teams time or whatever. So really cool bit of functionality, and encourage people to think laterally around, what is this sort of stuff that we can introduce here to the website. So the other big driver behind this is in and around search engine optimization. So that's where we really want to capitalize, make friends with the Google gods, capitalize on the free traffic that we can get through there. So it's really about identifying through extensive keyword research, what are the opportunities in Google, making sure that the website is optimized for those. Obviously, Google My Business is a part of that. Making Google aware of the new website through targeted backlinks. You've been creating a ton of content. Let's actually have a look at that. Like, let's see the cool stuff that you have been doing from a blog perspective.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned before, like Ben wrote blogs back in 2016. And that was kind of an aha moment when we saw, traffic still going towards those blogs. So we shifted, since doing this project with you guys, we've now shifted our focus to writing blogs on a weekly basis, and even podcasts. So turning the podcast into a blog, turning a webinar into a blog, just so we can get more of that SEO juice for our website.
Cool. So very similar to us, you're hosting a lot of webinars. You then go and repurpose that, obviously creating these long form blog posts. This is what Google really, love. And just to provide some context, I'm just going to bring up this tool called SEMrush. Now, you did swap your domain as part of the new launch process, but you can see, even coming from a completely blank canvas, already after like 2 months, the site is organically getting 1,000 uniques through to it every single month.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Awesome. Cool. And this is the sort of stuff that you're getting found for. So it's like, BAS meaning in accounting. What does the BAS mean? Dividend versus distribution. Is a family trusted company. All these random, what we call long tail keyword phrases. Already you're holding all these number one positions for this cool content that you are creating. So obviously you will continue to create that. This will snowball. It is still very early days in terms of just, the site and the longevity and the trust with Google and all that sort of stuff. But you can see just your general commitment and mindset to creating content is awesome.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, from the workshops and webinars, we've just dropped our frequency in half. And so, now we're focusing, our marketing team has just fully shifted and focused on the website and creating blogs.
Cool. And that's probably a really good lead in into results. So old website versus new website, you launched tail end of 2021. Like I said, it's still very early days. And despite Christmas, which half the months are right off and everyone just like checks out, a surge in COVID in January where there was a whole bunch of wonkiness out there in the world with that. And then like back that up with some floods. You guys are based there in Brisbane, and that obviously had tremendous impact on just business in general. Despite all that stuff, leads have been consistently showing up on par with you doing all this hustle and this effort and work to do all these physical events. They're just showing up, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. As I mentioned, we were doing weekly webinars, weekly events, traveling interstate prior to COVID, and then moving it to a weekly basis on Zoom. And then this year, after the launch of the website, we've just dropped it down to 2 times a month. And just focus solely on the website. And despite all of these things happening, like even with Christmas being closed, we were closed for 3 weeks, but that first week back in January, which we've never had before, we've had 12 appointments booked with an accountant. Wow. So that's kind of, that just makes me feel really good when we're closed during that time, because that's kind of the bit that I'm most stressed as. Making sure we keep the business flowing.
And that's really where your website deserves a pay rise, Roze, because it is the hardest working team member out there nowadays. When you're all like kicking back, sipping on cocktails over Christmas, it's there capturing the leads and doing all that sort of stuff. So key learnings. Do you want to talk about this? Like I've sort of reiterated a little bit about what we've spoken about, but I'd love to just get you to talk about these sort of key points just around how it's fundamentally changed the business and the focus within the business as well.
Yep. So we've completely shifted our marketing strategy and our focus we still do events. That's just happening in the background a couple of times a month. But now we have KPIs and metrics around the website. So for example, like our VA, she does, so we have a backlog of blogs that we've been writing for the last couple of years that have no SEO application on it. So I think it's 3 blogs a day that she does the SEO on a blog. We're going on every single page of the website, making sure there's a video so that, different people like to watch, listen, read, learn. So making sure we have all that kind of aspects. And then for myself, one of my metrics is creating a page for different industries. So what accountants can do to help with a lawyer, what accountants can do to help with a doctor, and then, applying that SEO knowledge. So that's completely changed. And actually, I love it. I love SEO. It's so good. And like you said, it's just doing its thing in the background.
And it's limitless. Yeah. Exactly. So it sort of takes it, from this pretty web presence to something that generates your leads and is ultimately created more leverage in the business. So that's then given you that laser focus approach to digital, which I love. So is there anything else to add in there, Roze? Any other sort of burning takeaways? I've got some time here for questions. Do you have any questions for me, Roze? Being what you've been through on the receiving end, like what do you see as like the next steps for Inspire, and how are you going to continue to evolve and do this? What's on the roadmap?
Well, SEO is a job on its own, right? Like I think you can get an SEO specialist. I'm sure you guys have an SEO specialist, and it's quite tricky. So, and even when you pulled up SEMrush, kind of, we're all learning as a team how to navigate through that. But yeah, I don't know. I think you guys actually provide that service, right?
Yes, correct. So typically, like, I guess you're a little bit unique as a business in the fact that you're a lot more hands-on, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about you, and the fact that you've seen an opportunity, and what you're ultimately doing is bringing that function in-house. So potentially there's some room to just tighten up some of the stuff that you're doing, because ultimately you are driving these initiatives. Which is awesome in the fact that, like, the number one blockage in this process is creating content. You guys are content machines,
content
right?
kings.
So you can crank the content. All you need is just some safety barriers and a little bit of, guidance in and around, just making sure that there's focus in the content that you're creating, right? So
I definitely, I think you're right there, because we're pumping out webinars or on a monthly basis, plus podcasts. So our VA actually just extracts that and, gets the transcription and turns that into a blog. And then she does the SEO on top of that. So it's actually become a really easy process every week to do this.
Cool. Love it. And that's all just about creating predictable systems that you can just go and get stuff done, and it happens. And if you do that consistently over time, that's going to snowball. And that graph that I showed on the screen, that's just going to keep heading in that nice upwards direction. So if anyone needs any help in this regard, we offer, obviously, very much strategy approached agency. We have a thing called a web strategy workshop. Essentially, that is a deep dive into your business. So very similar to the process we went through with Inspire, 120-minute Zoom or in-person meeting. It's a fully interactive, engaging process. We guarantee you will leave that catch up knowing a lot more about digital. We then come back and present, if this was us in your position, this is what we would do. And obviously proposal to implement that. I've also written a book, Love at First Sight. And then if you choose to partner with us, it is refundable. It is a paid session. We charge $500 plus GST. So if you want more information, check out 5by5.com.au. That is it, Rose.
Awesome. Well,
Bang on 30 minutes. Well done.
I just want to say thank you as well, John. The whole experience has been really seamless from start to finish. And working with your team has been really easy. And
Awesome. Thank you for being an amazing client. We love you.
Thank
you. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. Thanks, everyone. And we will see you online.
Bye.
Bye.